few dollars for the receipts that I'm missing, but we'll figure that out. And so we got to go over, and I got to get my mind back into some programming. I did a Coder's Clash of Code earlier today. Did really poorly. It was really slow. It was a really actually simple one, but I did so slowly. I should have done better, but I got the answer. Most people didn't get the answer, so it wasn't so bad. Our score's dropping in Clash of Code. And so we're going to see what we get today. For those who are just joining the show, we're playing a coding game where we do Rust programming, and I'm slowly getting into some of the Rust coding. There's a library I still don't know, so a lot of the stuff I have to look up, like lots of stuff you have to look up. Rely on your guys' help for the people on the show to get us out. And we do a few of these Clash of Codes, 1 or 2 sometimes, then we head over to the competition area and do bots. We're working on a Code for Life bot, and we were stuck in the Silver League last time and from the time before and not making any progress. And today we have to look at how I can move that along. I didn't get any chance to work on it outside of the show, but we're going to see what happens there. I think we'll get something there. And let's do my advertising, because that's always fun, isn't it? Where is it? I don't know why it's in the cheat sheet here in my code. And it always starts me in the wrong one. That's okay. Let's do this. Go away. I don't know how many people go through that. I don't know if the German ones this is good. We'll probably do that too. Okay, so I got a bunch of people here I don't recognize this time. Ollie's, Legend, and Dexter. I'm not sure if I've probably competed against them once before. Again, we're happier when there's 8 people because we do better, because it gives us a higher chance that somebody just makes a mistake. I know that's really awful to say, but I mean, we make so many mistakes in Rust, and I'm so slow that it's kind of a problem. Our score has been dropping lately, and I dropped out of Master. It's terrible. I know we'll come back to it. Dropped out of Master. We're back into the Mentor rank, so we need another few points. We're going to have to finish a competition. Probably getting Code for Life to Gold would help. There's not many people playing it, so it might not make any difference. Hopefully the competition will bump us up after that's done, and then we might have to do some other competitions just to get our overall rank up by entering bots in all of them, because that might help us a lot, but it might not help us too much either. We have to see how that works. But at least we'll try. So if you're just joining me for the first time, I might have a slightly different audience because I started a lot earlier today, and we'll do code programming, just waiting for this to start. We need 2 more players, or which times out at 2 minutes, which is sometimes good. I prefer, again, to have 8 players. And I'm hoping for something that's not too mind-bending, because right now all I see in my head are little columns of numbers, adding back and forth. My printer's been running for about 5 weeks now, just printing stuff, killing off trees so the government can have their paper. Because they don't apparently want digital files for whatever reason. You know, you don't want to actually be able to search anything. They'd rather just scan through with a piece of paper and search, and I suppose it's for the better. I don't know. I'd have to gather digital files too. And I'm missing stuff from eBay, but eBay doesn't have old invoices. It's really weird. You know, database space is at a premium, I guess. Alright, so we're almost at 8 players. Get started. CK's, Easy, and Wolf have joined us. If anybody watching this is a Rust programmer, you follow me on here, I'll follow you back. Great, we create a little Rust community there. Let's see what happens. And we're ready to go now. Here we go. Oh no, we dropped one. That's bad. So we just have to do it quickly. For every x in the provided list, output t. If x is divisible by all given n primes, p, else output f. Oh, these things are so confusing. Number n of primes, number of m integers, third line n primes p. This is so confusing, this one. X, m integers, x separates t if x. What the hell? So this thing, t, x, if it's divisible by all n primes, so 3 and 7, and, Jesus, this is confusing as hell, I'm sorry. And their helping here isn't very helping very much, so I'm guessing this is the primes, so let mut primes equal vec new. I'm going to say vec I32, I guess. Primes dot push P, and what do we have to do? Let mut good equals true. For P and primes, we're going to say if x mod P equals does not equal 0, we say good equals false. And then we're going to print that it's a print, I guess good. If good, then we print, just print this instead, else false. Now we figure out what errors I made, or if I misunderstood something. Unused variable n, that's fine, that's fine. Unused variable m. Primes, p and primes, value, okay, we have to n primes, and p and n primes. I hope I understood correctly. It looks good. That was super confusing. Hey, we got it right, we're first. Hey, that's excellent. What a way to start the day, I'm so happy with this. Statement is not clear enough. That was confusing as hell. I just looked at the output and figured out. Difficulty was, you know, this was kind of easy, but it's kind of perfect for these types of tests. Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, we were happy with this one. Difficult, fun. Was this one fun? No, this was fun. It was. I think this was perfect for such a test, and who knows. All right, then we're good with that. On a high note, I wonder if I should do another one or just skip it. Let's finish on a high note and go off to the competition instead. And because if I do another one, I might do horribly on this. So let's just say we're happy with this. We got a good start. Maybe my head's back in this game. And we're going off to the competition instead. Let's go off to the status instead. So what I'm kind of upset about is, well, okay, get back to competition, is on the mentor thing, we have this drop. We've left the master rank and we've fallen back into mentor. You know, it's just terrible. And the main reason is because of this clash of code. We had so many points from it, but it drops so fast. They must have like a an algorithm where you lose points. But if you look at where we are in terms of the world, at 236, we've done a lot of them, and unless I keep doing this, it's going to be hard to maintain that rank, because I assume those other 200 people are really active in this clash of code. And to get above them is going to require excess, but if I stop playing, it's going to drop fast. So we need to get points somewhere else here. Code Golf, we realize with Rust, there's no way we can get more points here. Well, maybe one. There's one where Dwarfy's beating us. Optimization, we have lots of work here. We can definitely get more, but there's so few points here. And we're already quite high in the ranks. Definitely going to get higher in the top 0.4%. So, in the multiplayer, we have lots we can go higher in the multiplayer. But there's a lot of games there, and this is the most work, this one. And tomorrow this competition starts, so hoping to get some points here. I think any amount of points is going to push us up back into master level. So even if we get like dead last in the contest, we should be okay. Speaking of the competition, though, I was hoping to get started on it tomorrow morning. Like I was going to wake up nice and early and get started on it with the game, but they're starting it in like their time zone, so 23 hours from now. So that would be next evening, and well, I have an actual social event then. I mean, okay, I'm playing board games, but okay, so I might not be able to start in that time. And if I get back late, maybe I'll start if I get back really late, or I might just wait until Saturday morning. And Saturday morning I'll start nice and fresh and just get at this and just do lots of coding. But anyways, tomorrow then during the day, what I might do is a stream about Leaf, because right now I'm trying to get a window displayed in Leaf using SDL. And it's getting progress. I have a window, it's green. Wonderful stuff. But for now, let's move on to Code for Life here. Like I say, we're ranked 180 right now in the silver ranking. And that's because we submitted something weird. And, oh, it looks like it's all fell, because there must be people actively playing, pushing them down. We were actually up to 64th. Doesn't make a big difference in the scoring. And we're just trying to tweak stuff. Tweak. Our robot still does stupid stuff. But let's join it. And we have a couple options for how we continue today. And now let's see if I got the patterns right this time. Let's see if I can actually get this working. Ah, it worked. so I can keep using my proxy. The only problem is my German proxy fails quite often. I don't know, there's just, I'm using TorGuard and the proxies kind of go up and down, so it's a bit weird, and Foxy Proxy doesn't like dealing with that. It kind of has a fixed list. Alright, in any case, let's go back to the code. Okay, so others just all saying is randoms. So that's something I thought too, is I noticed my rank changes over time. Obviously I know we're that high, but I guess it just keeps playing, and you just keep keeping the rank up to date, and so that's good. So you can go up and down. Maybe with the stroke of excellent random luck, you know, it's bound to happen. We could be pushed into Gold League by sheer luck. That happened in one of the other leagues. Which one was that? I think that was Tron possibly. We left it at silver, and we were not near. We were like in the top 20, but not close. And then we just got pushed into gold. So we're doing quite well there too, which makes it a lot of randomness. So okay, but today we have these options here. This is the code. So again, what we're working on is code for life, and I can play the current code to show you where we're at. The game, if you're new to this one is, we have a little robot who's researching some medical samples of some kind, and so let me make this full screen shot. And we walk around and we pick up samples, we analyze them, we grab molecules, and then we pass them in and we get health points. And the health points are here for score. And you also get expertise. As you accumulate expertise, you need fewer molecules to complete the samples. And then you keep getting more and more difficult samples. My robot waits too long to get more difficult ones, and we haven't clearly figured that one out yet. So it's a bit weird, and see, this is clearly the case. We're waiting too long to get more complex samples, and the robot Doctor Who is clearly beating us, because he's already on the third rank samples, and we're just still collecting first rank samples, because our algorithm scoring just doesn't like dealing with that. We tried fixing it yesterday, because then Coin just said his robot just has a fixed sort of expertise level, and so you see mine is picking up the two bot ones, but it's just too late. It just can't catch up anymore, and it doesn't matter how much we get, we just lost it. We're just gone here. And so this was all with the scoring, and the way we had the scoring, the issue we have with scoring is in... Let me explain how this works first. For anybody just joining us, what we do in this code, let's go right to the front time, is that on each turn, we call something called enumerate turns, and this gets us all the possible moves we could do in the game. Like everything from our current position, everything that could possibly be done. Then we call get best turn, and then it tells us the best turn based on our scoring, and gives it out. And the way the best turn works is by iterating through all of the potential turns, applying them to the state, and then scoring that state. This will work, and Euler actually said this is the way he kind of does his. The issue here is applying a score to a state is very, very difficult. There's a lot of minor things, and a robot often gets stuck in loops. That's his big problem, and he's too reluctant to take higher quality samples. And so it's really the scoring where we're stuck. So we have two options now, and we're probably going to approach both of them today. Is what my scoring does is it looks just one in the future. It never takes multiple steps in the future. This is a limiting factor because we have one place on the board where right here, and it's in the dark right now, but let's go back and make it bright here. You can exchange samples here. So if there's one in the cloud, no, okay, yeah, so we can train things here. So the one thing we can do is here, you can give up a sample and take a new one. Now what the scoring has a really hard time dealing with is when you give up a sample, you momentarily have a lower score than you did before. So it's really reluctant to change samples. If we look in the future, we'll actually be able to see moves where giving up a sample is actually the right idea. Now, as Euler is confirming, he does look in the future, and he's doing offline parameter training, and this is the one thing that actually I've been reluctant to do, because we would need an offline thing to run the thing. I want to see what he put here. Parameter fiddler. Another, because I have so many bookmarks running for this stuff. This is great. Oh, this is wonderful. Maybe we should try getting this running too. What's this written in? Java. Wonderful. Okay. Okay, so what we can do is we might want to get back to training. What we have in training, as I talked about this a bit before, is when we look at our scoring, so if we look at score samples, most of these things have like some condition and a score, or some score based, it's simple bit score, do a score, get a score, and then just add them together. Now this adding together is very important. This is adding together, and then we have multiple score parameters. We score whatever the current player's score is, it's worth a lot. Their projects are worth a lot, their samples, their where, and we just add these things all together with certain parameters. Now, if anybody's done AI before, this really looks like a neuron. This looks like an artificial neuron, and if we really wanted to train it, all of these multiplication values here, these could all be things you put into the thing to train, and if you had a good setup for training, it looks like Othershitzel has one, you could do the backtracking and automatically actually train this thing if you had enough other robots to compete against, or if we spawn variations of ours. Now, the one thing why I'm resisting tweaking parameters right now is because our robot's still doing some stupid things where the scoring is sort of fundamentally off. And a lot of times with the neural net, unless you want to dedicate like lots and lots of hours to the machine, if you're actually far off, it's going to take a long time if it ever gets to the point where it actually can find good values for them. And I notice one actual problem right here is I'm double scoring this, so score, take rid of that. That probably won't make a difference in the score. And explain the scoring right now. So the score, this is our actual score. When we submit a sample, you get score out. And I'm rating this highly because it has to be worth more than having a sample. And this is where it becomes very interesting, as I should actually write this down, is that given up samples have to be worth more than what they are in your hand. And this may sound a little bit counterintuitive, but the point is that the samples themselves have to be worth more. There's sort of a range to the samples. An unidentified sample has to be worth less than an identified one, even if the identified one we can't fulfill. And that's some of the issues we're having. And so there's sort of this ranking we have to have, and this is probably where I should start writing this down. And this is, again, stupid Visual Studio is putting extra stars in here, and I don't know how to turn it off. If anybody knows how to turn this off with the double starring, with the extra starring, then please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just take off the dot quotes. So there has to be a score ranking here. And so we have some rules. A submitted sample must be worth more than a held sample. This is important, otherwise you'd never submit a sample. Now, an identified sample must be more than unidentified. And this kind of has to be, regardless of what the identification is, it has to be worth more than an unidentified sample. An unfulfillable sample has to be worth less than a fillable sample. This is where it gets kind of confusing. We want to get them off here. And actually, unfulfillable has to be less than an unidentified sample. And this is one of the areas we have now as well. The reason for this is because if you're holding a sample you can't fill, you want to have the robot decide, well, just let's toss this and grab a new sample and hope for the best. See if we can fulfill that. But this is where we're having troubles, is that the overlap between these values is very close, because there's also these other ones, potentially fillable samples. And this is a big questionable point here. It's like, well, you know, you could fill the sample, but there's something with the current state that's not allowing it. That is, if nobody else was on the board, there was no other samples, nothing was there, you could actually fill the sample. But if the other robot has a molecule, or you have too many molecules, you don't have, there are cases where you're stuck. And so this is where the big question area is, and this is where my robot tends to have a lot of problems, is that potentially fillable samples are causing us problems in the scoring and creating loops on us. But let's check these other conditions first. Submitted sample is greater than held sample, so score times 20. This is what we're trying to do. Score is worth a lot. And I think that was just saying we finished the round, and it's putting us our placement. We finished first in that round. 1 of 7, that's good. So we have that, and then the projects, and we also have projects. Projects, we don't know what the score for projects should be. in our testing so far, from anything we do, the 50 points you get for a project is kind of like not worthwhile pursuing. If you actually get the project, then maybe, but so far actually fulfilling a hell has been a lot, and maybe something Eulers yourself can confirm. Do you know if you ever fulfill projects, do you actually go for them, or are they just sort of incidental? And I think this is one of the ones where we might have to have some sort of sampling. If we're like one off from a project, if we have 2 samples, then maybe pick the one that goes towards a project. But the thing is, most of the time in the game we're picking from unidentified samples, and it costs so much to go and get new ones back that so far it hasn't seemed worth it. Alright, so Eulers Shasal is kind of confirming, I think it said so. Okay, so that would seem to imply Eulers Shasal has the same kind of opinion as to what we have is projects aren't really worth it, except including in the scoring. So if you accidentally happen on a project, it is worth a lot, but it's probably not making it worthwhile to fulfill them, except if you can somehow, you're just scoring accidentally does it, so they are part of the score. And that would actually mean here, score projects, we have them right here, and so they have the same score, so we could actually probably just do that directly, just consider projects as part of the score, and they'll be evaluated exactly the same as score then. So the score plus projects, we'll just consider them the same. If you fill a project, then it gets added to the score. Though honestly, we could probably even simplify this just by saying adding it to the score directly. And no, we can just leave it this way. It won't make any difference now. We just add to the score. And the sample. So the big one here is now we have the score where. Score wheres are kind of a wild card as well. It's not worth very much. And I'm trying to get it that if we have nothing else to do, then we say, well, where do we go? So if we have nothing to do at the current station, this means, and this is where it's getting hard, if we have nothing to do, then we have to say where. Where do we go? And I'm dividing it by the ETA then, and the ETA is how many steps it takes to get. So the further away something is, it gives it a little less score. And the score where then has a bunch of things like what you can do at the various places. I can pick up samples, I can pick up molecules. The molecules is based on only if I need them. And we saw another robot, we definitely saw another robot that picks up molecules they do not need. So we might have the potential here saying, hey, you know, maybe we should just pick up samples anyways. And actually, what is exactly doing? It's store iterator need. What do I? Yeah, need. And so what we're doing is, so we might consider that just picking up molecules just for the heck of it, because that messes with the other robots, and that would be a very quick change. I'm wondering if we just test that now. Okay, but I want to look at this first. So where am I now? So at the laboratory, I'm actually making the score where just basically the number of options I can do. That's not a great thing to do. Max. So the first in the samples, it says, look, for however many samples I'm missing, I can pick one up there. So that goes in. The laboratory is, if I can complete it, I submit it, and this gives a higher value. And you can see where this kind of mixed up is that it kind of chooses the higher value one, not just based on what it's doing. But, so I'm really stuck in the scoring here, whether I should be modifying them too much, whether this is +5, and this scores it higher than giving up samples. And diagnosis says if it's not diagnosed, then we give it a rank for the rank, so higher ones we want to get fulfilled. If we can't fulfill it, then we also give it a rank to come to the diagnosis, because we can get rid of the thing, otherwise there's nothing to do here. And then also we can actually look up if there's samples to pick up, we can grab them. Now this is kind of a questionable thing here now, is that actually we can pick up any samples, and so we might be attracted to here for the wrong thing. We should only be picking up samples we can use, and that's one option we can look at here. Consider only good self.samples. And if there's some there might be more valuable because the other person might give them up. And then the molecules one is, well, basically if we're full up with molecules, it's always a score of 0. We just do nothing there. And that makes sense because there's no way to get rid of molecules other than through samples. Now, this one was, yeah, I can't remember what I was doing there. But otherwise, we just go through and say for each sample that has one, we just add a molecule to it, and that gives us our count. And this bias basically says, look, laboratory is worth the most. Picking at molecules is probably worth quite a bit. And the thing is, we might want to say +3 if it has more than one, because that will fulfill it up. But again, here's is not perfect. And we tried to do it before. We had this is what the sample completeness was doing. Is we're trying to say if you're close to complete and there's one there, then it's really valuable to go there. Otherwise, go on. But it's not made a big difference so far. So I've not made a big change here. I fixed just the scoring thing. Now the change that now let's go to score samples. This is a stumbling block we have in score samples. Is the first thing I do is I map up the bad sums. I check for any one I can't fulfill, I give it a 0, I give it a 1. So this is the sum of all the bad ones. That means I can't fulfill them. And this is all I can't fulfill them right now. You can see later down there's a could fulfill here. But this can fulfill basically says, look, I don't want it. It's no good to me. And this has been causing problems. This -10 has been causing real problems because it causes us to get stuck at the laboratory. Because what happens if you want to give up a sample and it's not worth, and it might cause another one to be unfulfillable because of this part here, you could suddenly get into the situation here, then you actually go down to negative score, and that's a real problem because you won't give up the sample then. So I think what is really important here to do is we really don't want negative scores. We really want to say just 0. I think negative scores screw things up because otherwise you have to be very careful up here. -10, -100 would mean that any sample that's worth 1 health-wise we might not give up because it could cause another one to fail. So I think I'm going to put 0 here. The sample's just worth nothing. And what's going to be really weird here is having an empty space is going to be worth more than 1. And this is what we might have to do is we might have to say having an empty space is worth more than 1. And the same thing here is if we can't fulfill it, it also has to be worth 0. We really can't fulfill it. But maybe we should say this. Maybe we should say 1 here. Because this has to be worth, having one that we can fulfill should be worth more than what we could fulfill. Could fulfill is absolutely 0. There's nothing we could do. Let's get rid of it. And then for all the ones here, we're just taking basically how fulfilled they are. And so we're taking the rank. And this was edA-qa's suggestion. He just basically said at these intervals, we just simply go up and add it up. But this wasn't working for us for some reason. So we're not clear on that yet. So we're going to go back to what we had before and simply say higher ranks are worth slightly more. And I'm just going to, instead of taking this off, I'm going to put this back to 1 and just say a rank is worth 1. So anything with rank is worth slightly more because the not fulfilled ones are already worth less. And we're going to say +1 because it has to be worth at least more than one we can't fulfill. And then we'll add, if it has expertise, we just add a hard score of 10 because it's worth a lot more because it helps us fulfill in increments, and that's worth quite a bit. But they all have expertise. This is the weird thing. They all have expertise. And the reason we have this is there appears to be an error in the game that other people haven't seen, is that we're getting, like, right at the start of the game, molecules without 0. So knowing that, we should probably take this off because this is just messing with our scoring because they all have they're supposed to all have expertise. And so now we say sample from health. We take the sample value and we say this is worth that much, even if we can't fulfill it, plus however much we complete we are. And the reason we do this is we have to ensure that as we complete it, it's worth more. So it actually encourages us to complete things. So we have the rank, and then we add all these together and we sum them up. And this should encourage us. Now, the one thing we're missing the one thing we're missing is I'm going to add this. Self.player0. Samples.len. What's that? Max samples. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say it's worthwhile to have an empty spot. Because what we said is that One we can't fulfill is worth 1. One we can never fulfill is worth 0. So having an empty spot has to be higher than those. So it has to be worth at least 2. So we're going to say multiplied by 2. And this is going to be F64. Now we're going to say as F64. Times 2F64. And I think that makes sense. We'll put this on a new line, just so it's clear. Actually, let's put another one here. Let's get rid of this one. Let score equal. Let S score equal max times minus that as F64 times F64. Empty spot must be worth more than not fulfillable ones. Thus we have 2. So every empty has to be worth 2 because we have a 1 up here, so it has to be worth 2 so we can get rid of the thing and say, look, we don't want this. What that means, of course, is that an identified sample has to be worth more than an empty spot, or maybe it can be worth the same. No, an identified sample should be worth more, otherwise we won't change. So an identified sample, regardless of what it is, has to be worth more, must be worth more than empty spot. But down here, yeah, there, that should be enough. That should do it. And I want to see if that actually helps anything at all. I think our scoring, I think this is general ordering, and the actual multipliers, you would actually want to have something, this is where, Renaka's, yeah, I'm making hype. Woo, tomorrow's contest. I mentioned before, it doesn't start until later in the day, and I can't start that time of the day, so I'm not sure if I can start tomorrow or Saturday morning. I was hoping to get started tomorrow morning, but it's just, I'm up too early for them. Their contest doesn't start in time. So what I'm going to do is, oh, did I actually check if I have errors? I do have errors, so it's going to fail on me. So what I might do is I might come in and start really late, or I might just start early Saturday morning and then have a full day of it and get some new viewers as well. And I think that might actually make sense. Samples. Ah, yeah, some. I learned this is a limitation in Rust. You cannot call sum without having a type somewhere. Sum cannot figure out the type on its own, ever. It just can't. So I probably failed that pretty bad. Now I forgot to hit the replay in same conditions. Now I immediately picked up some second rank ones, which, you know, is probably not so good. I picked them up way too early, way too early. If I fill them, it'll only be dumb luck. And I think this is where edCoin's algorithm comes in, because you know I'm stuck here, and I want to figure out why the reason is I'm stuck. So he has I can't fulfill this one. I could fulfill it though, and this is where the could fulfilling comes in. Right, and this is where I have a definite block. Is you notice they all require molecules. I'm full up on molecules, and the problem there is because I'm full up on molecules, my idea is, hey Sinclair, my problem is that because I'm full up on molecules, there's no possibility I could fulfill them, but my guy's keeping them because he's like, hey, you know, they're still okay. And it has to do with this can fulfill. You got red nuggets. The scoring changes, and I'm really worried about. Right now, I'm not worried about the chaos because I know what that is because he's filled it up. I'm really worried about this can fulfill here. Is I might have to be more strict here, and actually, this return here is probably pretty bad. Actually, let's do this. Just do this way. I don't know if I need that separate loop because we should still value those because they're not can fulfill. I think could fulfill comes first. If we can't fulfill it, then we return 0. If we cannot fill, if we could not fulfill, return it. Otherwise, we could fulfill. We cannot fulfill it. Now, the issue here is that this may be too lenient. The can fulfill or the could fulfill might actually have to check. Yeah, I'm uncertain here. We've gotten that stuck thing, and I'm kind of uncertain. Let's think about that a sec, how we can deal with that. Because the moment I start saying, well, this might be sufficient here. Let's find out. Okay. Now, this ranking here is, you notice we immediately picked up too high of ranked values, and that's kind of a problem. So let's go back to Ankoyan's approach, but I'm going to reduce this thing because we started picking up way too late. And these are rank 3, they times 1, but they're going to have to be +2 as well. Just +2, F64. Let's see how much of a difference that makes. And remember, press the right button. Let's put this into manual mode. So we're replaying the same conditions, and let's see if we actually do something different. Oh no, I made a mistake. Can fulfill and self players one.store. Let's see if we do something different. It always takes so long because it runs the game first in their servers, then gives us back the results. There are science projects scored here. Doctor Who and Doctor Who, which is bad, which gives them 100 points. Yeah, look, this we walked over the laboratory, and this is bad when we didn't have samples. So obviously our scoring is not good. Yeah, we're not. Our scoring of where to go is bad. Hello, little bot. So the curious thing is, what's the problem here? Why do I not... So Doctor Who has hogged all the 5s. And we notice that, so... But I already said that can fulfill. We can't fulfill it. What does can fulfill return? We assume we can fill rank 1, fine. If it's not diagnosed, we assume we can fill it. Otherwise, we go through. If it's more than the max mole count, we can return false because we can't do it. That is sample cost minus their expertise. If it's greater than the max, then we return it, minus the nodes available. Okay. And we say as long as we have space left to fill it. Now this is where we have an issue that we're not considering what else is on the board. And maybe we should add that. We're not considering the fact that the other robot may have them. So when we look at can fulfill, we look at the player store. And we should also look at the... Oh no, that is the other players, not available. Sorry, that's correct. Sorry, yeah, not available, so that's not available. Well, that's weird. So we're saying we can't fulfill it, yet is keeping holding on to it. Trying to think, why would that be? I'm just going to take it as logic again here. Remain store minus self.store-i. Okay, so that removes all the ones we have. That's fine. The cost is the cost minus expertise. That's how much we have to pay. If it's greater than the max molecule count, less than whatever's taken off the board, we return false. We can't fulfill it. Good. Remain plus equals 0 max. So we shouldn't have been fulfilling that, so I'm a bit confused as to why here. Let's check out our scores here in this really tiny window. The issue is we're not getting back to the diagnosis machine. We're stuck back and forth here. So we have to higher score the diagnosis machine. We have to score that higher to say, look, you got to get back to here. If you've got an undiagnosed sample or something you can't fulfill, it has to be worth more to go back there. Score where? Score where? And so if we're at the samples machine, yeah, that one's only worth something if you have no samples. That's great. Laboratory is... should have been worth nothing. Is sample complete? Laboratory should have no score. When we go here, how on earth are we going back to the laboratory? Because it should be worth absolutely nothing. Go to laboratory. Is worth 7.6. How going to the laboratory is worth more? Oh, because I have fulfilled. Okay, so this is one. I have filled samples here. And this is that health thing. I have filled samples. And he's going back there because he wants to give them up, but somehow he's not giving them up. And this is where the error for the score is that why is he not giving up? Then those are the health 0 ones. I've got stuck in that before. Yeah, that's right. Now you just... it's horrible lag, right? I mean... it's... You guys can think of something quicker than me, but I get this lag. I got like the 2-minute lag to think of it before you, so... And this is where the score is supposed to come from. We have a score, and giving this up is supposed to give us 20 points. So that one should be worth 20 points. Okay, so what do we have? Going to the laboratory, we have scores 3. Projects is 28, that's all the same. Whatever, because that's partially fulfilled projects. And the samples are worth 13. So 3 and 13, so nothing's changed there. And where is 12? Okay, good. And that's when he's going to the laboratory. Okay. Now we have to see when he gets there what he's doing. No, let's see right there. So we're at the laboratory here. Maybe I should write out where we are. It'd be a lot clearer. I'll do that right away if I don't find it. So we have diagnosis is worth 79.59. And so here's exactly the problem. Giving up a sample reduces our score. It puts the score to 4, but it puts the sample to 9. So the samples are worth less. That's what we want, and the score is worth more. So there's something weird there. So this is the balance here, is we have the balance off here. To account for the 1, right, because we have the sample, so we have this score samples came back with a value of 9 as opposed to 13, so we lost a value of 4, it's a sample, which is going to result in 40, but it only has a health of 1. Ah. So either I can reduce score 1 samples, because they're really the wild card in the bunch, because the rest of them are worth like 1, or worth 10, 20, 30. And they don't have that issue. Maybe what I should do, and this is an option, let me try this. To temper how much the samples are worth. That could be entirely silly. But let's see if it prevents us from getting stuck at least. It still keeps the ordering of them, but it reduces their overall... Uh-oh, I screwed up an error again, a log. What? This function takes 1 parameter. Alright, Rust. What's with log this time? Usually cosine and stuff don't take it for 64 log. Oh, it takes the base. So let's just do log 2. What this does, it reduces the overall magnitude but keeps the ordering, and that can be quite helpful. Because we want this magnitude reduced because they have a very large ordering here. Between the first, second, and third ranks, it's almost exponential, so we'll close that down and see if that actually helps. I say I want to really clear up these basic defects and then go on to the actual doing multiple moves in the future. Okay, what are we doing? Let's hope for big. Let's go big and hope he does big things. No. No! 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 That's not big things. That's stupid things again. Okay, what do we have? We can't fulfill it. And where are we? It's 80% and you can't fulfill them. Why does he stick here then? So right here, he should be getting rid of 1. The reason he should be getting rid of 1 is because if he can't fulfill it, it should be worth more to not have it. And I need to fix that one thing first when we output this. I want to do e print line at here ETA of this. This will help us find the right one because the debug output's a little bit weird still. State.players0.target state.players 0.eta macro. Okay, I think we got it right though. So we're at the laboratory and we want to give up the sample. So if we give up the sample, what happens? We have a sample score of 8 here. we pick one up as opposed to 11. That's because they're partially filled. Shit. So filled ones are going to be worth a lot more, so we're never going to give up a filled one. No, but that doesn't make sense. Because in all cases, they can't be fulfilled. What am I writing out there? I'm writing out can fulfill, and it says true, and that may be the problem. It's saying true, it can fulfill it. Can fulfill. But it just gets a value of 1. Whereas an empty cell, this one right here, an empty one is supposed to be worth 2. Alright, so something's wrong there. We have it right. I'm really sorry about this output. There's nothing I can do about this output here. It's stuck. You can't make it bigger. And connecting here means I'm getting rid of some. So I should actually output the sample ID as well. That'd be helpful, really helpful. Let's look at that again. Sample.id. So I know the first two I'm getting rid of them because that's what I have in the hand. And it drops the score to 8. And this makes no sense. Well, it's saying it can fulfill them. And that's the error. Can fulfill should be returning false. C, D, 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 E, because he has 10 molecules. B, C. So can fulfill has an error. Can fulfill is actually reporting the wrong value. I've tried zooming the browser before and weird stuff happens. Right, we missed stuff here, but actually, you know what? Screw it. The reason I never did before is because we wanted this side over here. We don't actually need to see this side here, and we don't need to see this code. Can I zoom one more? No, one more is going to make it too hard. Alright, so it's a bit bigger at least. And this makes this a bit bigger too, which we want. I put a feature request in for them to change this so I can make this bigger and get rid of this code thing, because I don't need this code thing at all. And these buttons should be smaller, but okay. This works, and what I thought one bigger was good. This is good. This is a decent size, so now we can see it better. Except the problem is, it's still have to scroll here. That's what I was complaining about, the scrolling here. But maybe it's okay. Okay, so can fulfill has an error in it. Can fulfill is returning an error. Because what I mean is why it's an error is because it's saying... Oh, well, we missed the part now. Let's just try and debug it, because it was saying it can fulfill it, so the sample was saying... Let's go further down. This is actually a really cool Fuji coding game. The visual debugging, I can scroll down and see where it is. That's like super cool, to be honest. And the way this works is because, as I said before, making this work actually makes it slow because it submits the game, you wait for the whole game to return, and then it shows the results. So it's not actually interactive. Alright, so right here we have a whole bunch that are all 80% true. And the issue here is that when we give one up, these are all these ones, 3 give up, give up, give up, give up. We have a sample score of 14 in the hand, and it drops it down to 7 by giving it up. And it's because can fulfill is true, but we can't actually fulfill them. Right, because we need a B, and we have no space left. So something here is wrong. We can't fulfill them. Can fulfill is wrong. Or actually, no, we have a... Oh, we have an expertise. C. But we don't have D, so it can't fulfill D. It can't fulfill that one. And it can't fulfill... No, we need to be in both cases. We cannot fulfill these. We cannot fulfill any of these. So why is can fulfill returning true? We start with max store. Max store has 10. That's how many molecules we can actually store in total. Go back there. So remaining store is how much we have. In each step of all the molecule types, we remove how many molecules we have. So we know how much remaining store we have in the end. Okay. And then we say, we take the sample cost minus our expertise. That says how much we have to pay for it. If it's greater than the amount of molecules on the board, we immediately return false, because it means there's no way we can fill this. There's not enough molecules on the board. Good. Remain is how many we still need. We take the maximum 0 sample cost minus our score minus our expertise. And that should return. So in the case of this B one here, A, B, B, D, C, D, our remain is going to be... Oh, wait a second, he only has 9. He's at 9, but and there's one available. Well, this is weird. He should be fulfilling them. He doesn't pick up a molecule because... Oh, crap. No, that's the exact problem I had. Okay, so this is the challenging here. The reason he doesn't pick up a molecule is because the moment he picks up a molecule to finish one, the other one becomes unfulfillable, and it becomes worth less then. So somehow we have to make it so that filling a molecule to finish one is always worth more than getting rid of one. And I'm not clear how to do that. Okay, how do I do that? How do I do that? That's clearly a scoring issue. Score samples. It has to do with this down here, a completed one. The completeness is worth something, but the moment you mark it complete, it drops the value down a lot. So I wonder if having a baseline complete sample just has to be worth a lot. Crap, how do I make this? A completed sample has to be worth quite a bit. And what I do is I do a square root. I automatically did this. I want to try and fulfill one. And I have to offset the other ones. This is where the biggest issue is. I have to offset the loss. So when I give one up, I fill out the other ones. It's just really tricky to get this right because I have something wrong here. This can't fulfill. These hard cutoffs are very problematic. I could try something horrible first. Let x equals is there an is complete? Did I write that? Is complete. Can sample completeness is sample complete. That's what I wrote. Is sample complete. This has to be worth something more. There has to be a higher value to this to offset the loss of it. Ideally, I'd want to say, and this is what's pissing me off, is ideally I want to say just fulfilling this sample, it shouldn't cause the other ones to lose value. But maybe that's what it is. If there's a sample that's complete, and the other one shouldn't lose value. I think that makes more sense. Let's figure this out. If there's any of them that are complete, complete count is sample complete. One and zero. Okay. If we can't fulfill, it's still worth zero. Now the second one is here if we have complete count equals zero. And is that. Now I don't like and conditions. Because this makes it very hard to train something. Because it's a hard-coded cutoff and that's really bad. But maybe it's worthwhile. Because basically what we're saying is that it's only a problem if we can't complete one. If we have one that's, but if we have one that's complete, this is still okay, and that'll allow us to complete something and get rid of it. Will that make enough of a difference to get them out of this loop here? And we're just still doing something stupid there. But we did recover, which is weird. We're going things in the wrong order, though. Maybe he knows something more than I do, but that doesn't seem like a great order. And we're still taking too long to pick up the other sample types. So there's a bit of chaos there, but it's not... And so my scoring for the rank is wrong, because he's picking up the wrong rank samples. Regnagas, yeah, I mean... Sampling is worth a lot. The issue, the part of the reason why he's doing that, part of the reason why he's walking around with undiagnosed samples, and if you go back to this place, right, like right here, the reason he's walking down here is because the opponent has given up molecules, and suddenly one of these things can be fulfilled, and he's valuing fulfilling these really high. And he's going down here to try and get the molecules quickly, basically. But then when he got there, and that's the case, by the time he got there, the molecule was gone. So maybe undiagnosed samples should be worth more. But the issue here is that when you go back here, and this is what I meant before, is when we have this sample here, and this is where the look ahead might help, is look ahead is probably what will solve this issue, because once I'm here, I only analyze doing stuff here and moving around, because I don't analyze doing stuff here or here or here because I'm not there. And so I think the scoring, all this random motion stuff, I think will be solved by doing look-ahead. So I'm not concerned about the random motion. I'm concerned about the loops or doing something. When you're at a station doing the wrong thing won't be solved by the look-ahead. And here I think the molecule just disappeared on it. And there we always diagnose. So the key thing I have now that I want to fix is that I think right here he's picking up samples that aren't very good. He's picking up low rank samples. Now this health is 0 here if it's incomplete. Thanks a lot, Steve, for subscribing. Glad to see you watching the show. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Thanks very much. What do we have? If the expertise is less than 6, then we say 1 else. Well, this is a stupid condition. Okay, this had to. The reason this here is this has to be increasing, and so ranks have to be worth more. Our expertise always goes up. If expertise is greater than 6, well, we can just say 1. Sample 1s are worth 1 always, because we never want to reduce score, because reducing score is really bad. It confuses him. Or maybe not. Maybe it should confuse him. Maybe if he has a sample, he should get rid of it. No, we can't do that, because then... I know, that should work. I don't like this. Suddenly we can have a sample that's not worth anything, but okay. A 2 rank sample. If we have more than 6 expertise, we're less than 12, then we give it 2. Do I want the AND condition, or we give it 3? Rank 3, rank 2. All right, we're gonna have to check out what he does there and why he's picking up lower rank samples, because something's fishy there. Something's really fishy of why he's not picking up samples. So 6 is a cutoff. As soon as we have 6 expertise, we should be picking up more valuable samples. Now that's not good there, but I'm okay with that for now. But he's not even getting to 6 at this point. Now we're at 6. Okay, right there is a problem. Yeah, it's Rick Nuggets. We have the problem that my bot never gets to rank XT anyways. Why did he suddenly do this? Right here. No, not quite 6 yet. All right, right here. We're exceeding our score here. We have a rank of greater than 6. So a rank 2 sample should be worth more than a rank 1 sample. Should be worth 2 more. So why is he picking up rank 1? Now keep in mind, Reknakis, I can't hard code such logic in there. Because it's based on scoring, I can't simply say, if this state pick up this thing, because we've taken this approach, we said we're just going to apply all the things and base it on the current state, and it's a key limitation of this approach. It's a very good approach for doing automated, like machine learning type stuff, but if you screw it up and you don't have the right scoring, it's very hard to fix. And I can't hard code logic in like, well, just do this when this in state, because I don't know that state. I can't pick the turn. All I can do is apply scoring. So it's a very big limitation with that, and that's why I have to apply the score. I have no choice but just to apply score here. So I'm at samples, good, and I have one sample, and so connecting should pick up a sample. Connect picks up one, and they're worth less and less. This is weird. So one sample would be worth 5. That's weird. A 2 sample is worth 4, and a 3 sample is worth 3. Wacky. Everything else is the same. So why is it going down? The higher the diagnosis, the lower the... How on earth is this number getting lower? Huh? And 1 lower for each one. So empty spot's worth something, that's fine. Has to be worth more than an empty spot, that's fine. Why is this going down? This is really confusing. So destination is irrelevant there because it's not going. Connect in ID 1 means pick up a rank 1 sample, and that's worth 5. Picking up rank 2 is 4. This is okay. Something's horribly wrong there. Connect samples. Apply. What do we have there? From rank is turn ID. From rank ID rank equals rank. What is going wrong? I really need to have test cases, man. We're going to do that before the competition. We're going to actually write proper tests because this is hard to debug this way. Is sample complete? Is sample complete? If it's not diagnosed, return 0. That's fine. So we have no complete ones. There's no complete counts. And it's like really weird that it goes 5, 4, 3. What on earth in the algorithm could possibly be doing that? First off, because to avoid future confusion, I'm going to do this. No, I have to print the score afterwards. Okay. Should I just do it this way? /n works. Turns I. This might be too much outpour for it, and it ends up as a score. And I just try, that'll help the scrolling issue too. Why? Oh man. How can the rank of an endied sample cause it to go from 5 to 4 to 3? Our expertise at this point was 7. So we have an expertise of 7. So right here, if it's less than 6, we get a 1. Otherwise, it's 0. good. So it should, a rank 1 one would be worth 0. A rank 2 one would be worth 2, and a rank 3 one would be worth 3, and the other one's worth 0. Otherwise it's 0 plus 2. Is there like a negative somehow coming out of here? And the health will be 0 from rank. Well, it's not 0, but that's why we have this max here. We have a max to ensure we're either taking the health, the higher of the health, or 0 because of the negative ones. So this health will be 0. What? This is just really screwing with me. So we lose 2 for each time, but that'll be the same for regardless of which sample we take. Man, this is really, I don't know, this is confusing. I'm confused. What on earth could be doing that? How can I debug this? Oh man, this is going to be too much output. It's just going to clip my output. I'm going to have to do some sort of a command line test tool, but let's just do this. Sample.rank. Alright, let's see if this actually makes a difference. We got an error here though. Yeah. Alright, let's see what happens here. Not so excited about that. So there's definitely a bug there. It's not an error. I don't think it's a logic error. It's an actual bug we have in the code. Yes, move along. Let's just give it a wrong here. There we go, up there. What do we pick up? Oh, we don't have enough expertise yet. Now we have 6. And what do? We pick up 1 low rank 1. That was stupid. Okay. So we're at the samples here. This is what it understands. We're at samples ETA 0. We have 1 sample in the hand that's partially fulfilled. If we do a go-to diagnosis, our score is 2091. No good. Laboratory 2091. If we go to molecules 2092, and this is because we want to try and fulfill this one. There must be a molecule suddenly there. Or, if we connect here to ID 1, we get 2092 again. 2092, which is slightly higher. So picking up a molecule is worth more, slightly more than going to the molecules. Okay. Now when we pick a rank 2 one up, what the hell? Where's my sample? Well, I got some sort of error here. It's not even scoring it. When I pick up a second one, it doesn't even score it. It just ignores it. So that's the obvious problem. Why does it not score it? It means this thing right here. Could fulfill, can fulfill. One of those must be wrong. Could fulfill. min molecule count, rank min molecule count. 3, 5, and 7. Good. Rank min. So the minimum amount of molecules for this sample of a rank is not diagnosed. Something here must be failing. Total expertise plus max store. Our total expertise at this point is 8. So it's not that first one, because 8 that's enough to fulfill any of them in theory. Max molecule count is... Now I think this is the wrong one here. So XM is less than total expertise plus max score. That's correct. Our average expertise at this point is like 1.5. 8 divided by 5 or 1.5. Max M is going to be like 5. Oh, we're being too conservative here. We're being way too conservative here. This will never pick up a higher scored one because of the fact that this second condition, it's just not taking any risks. So let's just get rid of this. We'll just take the known case. The known case is a minimum. If we just don't have enough to fulfill the minimum up, which is almost never going to be the case, and that does pick up higher scored values. Let's see if it helps. It's only the pickup stage we have to worry about, and this bouncing back and forth I'm not too concerned with yet. It's obviously a waste, and it's probably just this one random value. And we should be picking up better samples now. No, we're still not. We're not at the 6th threshold yet. What? He still picked up a low quality sample. So I'm not... Bouncing is annoying, one thing, but it's the poor quality sample. Now, Doctor Who's also getting a low score in this one, which indicates something about the values coming in. I'm worried about right here. We have enough expertise. There's no way we should have picked up a... Let me check I got that one. It's commented out. There's no way we should have picked up a rank 1 sample. So we're at samples, ETA of 1. All these turns are worth that. And if we connect 1, our scores go up 2, 2, 3, which is good. Connect score 2. It still marks it as not completable. Damn it. So we have the could fulfill. Do I do the same nonsense and can fulfill? Oh, what's this? This is a remnant from before. Crap. I just do the exact same thing. Man. That's why I have to keep double checking all this stuff. We're kind of stuck in halfway points here. So the interesting bit doesn't, so we bounce around like an idiot. Bouncing around like an idiot is not too bad because it implies our scoring has some effect. And that's what we want. We want to know our scoring is doing something useful. Ah, there, we're picking up better ones now. You saw that? We picked up some better ones, so we fixed that issue. We're still too far behind though. And we pick up only those ones. And we have more expertise than him, and we're picking up low quality samples. So I think we're still too conservative in that regards. But aside from that, let's submit this and let's see how we do in the random battles. And I'm gonna let that run, and I'll take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Let's see what happens there with that though. Alright, are we doing any good or are we doing horribly? Oh, that's looking bad. So let's pick one and see where we get stuck against this little squirrel guy. He picks up sample 2 right away. And how do I lose then? Oh, that's how I lose. Alright, so we're still getting shitty suck here. We should have won because he was stuck. The other guy was stuck, but we're still getting stuck on this. We have to value something higher. Something has to be higher. What is it that has to be higher? And this is, where do we get stuck? Right here. 710, we're full up. And are we actually full up? 6, 9, we have 9, 80%. Ah, it's that can fulfill again. I'm getting burnt by this can fulfill. It's just costing me too much. It's costing too many errors. It's causing the loop. It's that can fulfill causing the loop. Because suddenly things drop in value and you can't partially fulfill things. Would he be able to finish any of these though? B, B, B. He needs one more B. And it's there. A. So he has no CC. That's fine. But B is there. I don't know why he has all these other molecules. He picked them up for no apparent reason. But B is there. So why is he not picking it up? We're at the molecules, and 865 is going somewhere to diagnosis. Connect 1 is worthless. Connect 2 should be worth more. But things are worth health 1. How do I do that? It's because that worth health 1. Fulfilling is not enough value. I hate rank 1 ones. The value of 1's screwing up my algorithm. Score samples. Let's do this. Let's assume we can just always fulfill rank 1. Could fulfill, never return it. Can fulfill. Let's just do... Where do I call can fulfill? No. So we're going to change the definition of can fulfill to basically say if sample.rank equals 1, just return true. We can fulfill them. Because we're always getting stuck on those low-valued ones, and I said that before. It screws it up. And let's see if that fixes it against this guy. Because it's the loop killing us the most. Right now, it's these loops we get into that are killing us in the Silver League. As long as we don't get into a loop, we should be able to at least get halfway. Because he's picking up really dumb samples. He can't fulfill those things. He's hoping for the best. And he managed to film, but you can fulfill them sometimes. But you notice he got stuck, and that's because when you get a whole 2 tangle rounds, you can get stuck. Now I pick up those ones. Oh no, I got another loop. But he was doing better. He picked up some good ones, so what's the problem now? At diagnosis, and going anywhere is what, 1311? Picking up a sample brings us to 1312. There's 2 of them we could pick up here. And that's worth more, so he picks it up. Good. So why is getting rid of it a problem? Because he can't fulfill it. Then why the hell is he picking it up if he can't fulfill it? That makes no sense. And I know I can't get rid of that can fulfill, because if I do, we get stuck in a situation where the other guy can just screw us and we don't have anything to fulfill at all. Why on earth is he giving it up, though? Why is this worth more? It should have known that before it picked it up. It should have known it here that it can't fulfill it. So it's collecting 12. And come on. I'm stuck in the same place I was last time. I just can't figure out some bits of the algorithm. Why is this worth less? Is it actually the score, 2323? Sample's worth 23 here if I pick it up. That's correct. Samples are worth 23. That's great. It's worth 23. So it should pick it up because it wants that. Except it can't fulfill it. So how is it worth that much? Should be worth 1. There must be something wrong in the way I'm doing the algorithm. %, filled, but I can't fulfill it. And it's worth more to give it up. He's got 12, and giving it back makes it worth more. I think I got something wrong in the turn logic. I'm evaluating the wrong turn or something. $23. Giving up 10 is we lose a lot of score. Picking up 3 gives us slightly more score. It should give us more because it's less. Alright, trying to see. Sorry about the debugging. This is really weird. If we pick it up, we get 23. Okay. Why do we get 23? I can't debug even more here. What's our flat? So our baseline score is 24. Let's look at this one. If we go to the laboratory, we have a score of 24. And picking up this one gives us 23. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. We can't analyze that. So why is he picking it up? Because the where score is 2. All right, so we have a scoring issue. We have a where issue. The where has to be worth more. The laboratory is worth here more. So the laboratory isn't enough to increase it. I mean, picking up an unfulfillable one is stupid. But it's because going to the laboratory isn't worth enough. So the moving's not worth enough, so it's picking up something that's worth very, very little. Because it's forcing, we took out the weighting, so it never weights. Maybe we should stick it back in. Because if we stuck the weighting back in, we'd clearly see that the weighting, this is worth less than weighting. Let's verify that. Where do we actually stick it in? Weight. There's a reason we took it out, because we weighted too often. Because we were fixing a scoring issue before. And now we should clearly see him weight there instead. Instead of doing anything, he'll weight. And that's an easier loop to pick up on. Right there. Right there's a good one. We pick him up a loop right away. He's waiting, which is bad. Waiting means there is nothing else worthwhile doing. But we have to change the scoring so there's always something worthwhile doing. So waiting gives us a score of 44. Wait. And what do we have in our hand? We've got 3 things in the hand. One of them's filled even. Going to the laboratory gives us 40. Why is that worth less? So 0, 0, 14. And where's 6? So weight gives us 44. No, that doesn't make sense. What weight? Yeah. We're at molecules. Yeah, at molecules. And being at the laboratory is worth less. How can that be worth less? How is this coming out to less of a score than waiting? Can't be worth less of a score than waiting. One of them's full. This is all looking great for the competition tomorrow. We're in top form. Alright, so something, why is waiting worth more? Even though the values are the same. Scores samples. We have all of these, and they're just adding them together. Weight divided by ETA. And we have no ETA here, so that's fine. Oh, score where? What is where giving us? W? It's giving me a 6, because we're at molecules already. Ah, and this is where the value there is going to molecules. So what we're saying is we want something at molecules. And we also want the same thing in the laboratory. But the laboratory is far away, so it scores it less. Because it still thinks there's something we can do at the molecules. It's worth more. So it has, basically it has nothing to do here, but it wants to stay there anyways. And this again, if we looked one in the future, it'd fix this, but we can fix this on its own. Do we have anything fulfillable? Well, why are we not picking up molecules? That would be the more obvious one. Picking up molecules gives us 43, 43. So this something screwed up there too. Waiting is worth 44.67. Picking up a molecule is worth exactly the same. Picking up this molecule Alright, so what's wrong with this stuff? Why is picking up molecules not worth more? And why does it go down is the question. So this is exactly the problem I'm fighting, is that something's causing the score to go down. So doing nothing gives us 44. And it's the exact same value if we pick up a molecule. Connect type. We pick up a molecule. Samples are 14. That's because that one's worth, that's fine. It's worth a bit less. We have less space. But one of these molecules must be worth something. All right, let's step back so I can see what I have here. He's missing C's. He's got that one filled. Go back one so we can see it. Go back. So it's AAB and AADD. Okay, there's something. What on earth is he not picking up a sample? It's lots of fun watching me make all this wonderful progress, isn't it? So this is a good test. Weight we should leave in here because it definitely means picking up a sample. Sample 1 should give us more score, 44. Somehow it gives us less. How the hell can picking up a molecule give us less score? So in score samples here, picking up a molecule can reduce our score. Square root supposed to make sense. Sample completeness can't be going down. This can be going down, though. This is the only thing that can be going down, except we're not picking up a sample. We're not fulfilling a sample. We can't alter the completeness. Unless there's nothing on the board and somehow there's no D. That should be fine, though. We have all the D we need. You can sort of see in the middle AAB, ACC. So there's something really screwy there. Why? This is angering me. Frustration setting in. Picking up something for here should definitely work. And sample 2 is, just have to randomly mouse over here. I saw it there for a second. AADD. Alright, so picking up molecule 1 should be worth a lot because it would suddenly be filled up. But picking up ranking 1, that's be connecting, connect type 0, gives us 44. The sample score goes up a tiny amount, which should be enough. It's worth more than this. This is all we need. But it reduces the value of going somewhere. Oh, that's stupid. Because going to the molecules is currently worth less than. So being at molecules isn't worth very much then. And so every molecule has to be worth at least 1. Huh. So I know if you're missing that, so basically what's happening is that it's worth, because it's reducing the value of being there, it's not as value to be at the molecules. It reduces the cost 1. And I've been tempted in the score where to just say, look, if I'm already there, there's no value in going there. But that's one of the cases in the score we can't figure out because we don't know where we are. We only have the current state, so we can't value going somewhere. And this is why it's supposed to be worth very, very little to start with. Except the minuscule cost thing here. You know what? Screw it. This has to be at least 10. Let's just get rid of this horrible minuscule case. If it's not complete, it should be 0, though. If not sample.is diagnosed, then we'll just hard code 0 else. Let's give it this fun thing. An error. Oh yeah, this, come on, F64. Come on, please don't get stuck this time. If I could just figure out the loops, we'd be fine. And looking ahead is not going to likely fix the loops. That's why I want to figure them before I go ahead, because they're not likely to fix the loops. And we have a very clear case here we should win, and he waits again! Stupid bot. So waiting is worth Ah, no, this is where this max should be 0 here. It's not worth automatically 10. Only the completeness is worth 10. Because the completeness has to be worth at least 1 more than a molecule, so that 10 is not a magic value. It has to be worth at least 1 to score something. And it's still waiting. Why on earth is it waiting? It's got one that's complete now, even. And waiting gives it 57. And this is why we have something horribly wrong with the scoring, that waiting gives it value. And by waiting is it's not actually doing. By waiting means is basically what's the current value of the state, and we have something that's dropping the value of the state. And this is what I'm desperately trying to avoid, is our scoring can never reduce the scoring value. We have to somehow make it go incrementing always. Regardless of what we do, it has to be worth more. Other things just have to be worth even more than that. So what do we have? Okay, going to is not worth it. So picking up a sample, going to the laboratory should have been worth more. So first off here, going to this laboratory should have been worth more. And the reason it's not worth more is because of the value. There's still value here, and going to the laboratory is not worth enough due to the ETA. Because the ETA is in 3, so it drops it down a lot. And maybe that ETA makes no sense. But picking up a molecule should have been worth something as well. And again, it's the same thing with the ETA. No, none of them completed anything. 9109, 39. So this one was worth more, 56. But the weighting value is worth less. All right, so we have a problem with the weighting value, with the where value. The where value is worth too much. Where's our ETA? So I'm just going to totally undervalue this, to just basically say, look, this is just a minor thing. Minor. If you've got nothing else to do, then pick somewhere to go. And that, if that is actually the error, looking forward to actually fix it and actually drop the ETA and decide, looking forward, what's the goal to fix this. Regardless of what happens, maybe we should do that. I just want to get back to the middle point. If I get a rank back to the middle again, I think we can move on. Now I think we might want to lower the rank for taking the rank 2, because we're not taking enough risks. But now we're picking them up now. And waiting again. Okay, so waiting is bad. What's he getting stuck with now? He should always be more worthwhile to go pick up another sample. This is so frustrating. Waiting is 1495. Okay. Now connecting here. What samples do we have? 10 and 15. Picking up 16 is probably not worth much because we can't fulfill it. Dropping ones off is obviously not worth as much. But going to sample should be worth more. And it's not worth more because the ETA again. Damn it. Screw the ETA. Just screw it. And now we have to go down to samples here, and we have to be certain that going to samples has to be worth more than diagnosis. It doesn't have to be, but it might help in this case. And this is where the tweaking the values comes in tools, that you have all these little cases that if you just tweak them back and forth, and there's a million little things to tweak. Oh, not a million, there's about 20. And this is what machine learning and training do, is they basically just tweak the values and just keep coming up with stuff. Now, we weren't picking up enough molecules there, so it's a little bit weird. He should have picked up more molecules right away. But we're not doing horribly now. So we actually got up to the rank 3 ones. We managed to beat him, but not by much. So we're still doing something a little bit weird. Well, let's submit that and see how far it gets. I don't think we're valuing picking up samples enough. We're picking up scoring, so going to the laboratory is worth more than fulfilling things. Let's find another one where we're losing in. Oh, there's plenty of examples of that. What's this one here? Show it. How do we screw up here? And this is the case where there was an optimization we should have done there, but we didn't. How do we must get stuck. We must get stuck in a loop because we're already doing better than him. Oh, he starts picking up those ones. So I'm not satisfied in that one. I'm not satisfied that was a bad loss. And his bot actually waits a bit. Curious. I'm not convinced that was a bad loss either. That was like tweaking type loss. We're not getting stuck. I want to find out where we get stuck. Now, all of these guys are automatically picking up rank 2 samples. Like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Like, I have a feeling we should at least take a chance, but this here is getting really ridiculous what he's doing here. And now, okay, that one is clearly a pause state. Oh, and that's because we hard-coded rank 1. Why did we hard code rank 1 again? But that's the issue about the scoring, is that the issue with the scoring is I can't just say don't walk with undiagnosed samples. All I can do is check the current state. And I could sort of hard code that and say, look, if you're walking with an undiagnosed sample and it's not towards diagnosis, it's wrong. We could hard code it that way and just say it's the only place you're allowed to go with undiagnosed samples. So we could do let's special. Special. I'm going to do a score special. Now, we're just going to hard code some of the rules because we don't know how our scoring is actually screwing it up. And we're going to say if we have any undiagnosed samples, first of all. Undiagnosed count is diagnosed. Return 0, either return 1. If undiagnosed count is greater than 0 and self.target, is there an in this? In? How do we do a rust in? I should just do it this way. Equals module diagnosis. If we have an undiagnosed count and it's going somewhere other than diagnosis, and the self.eta, self.player0.eta is greater than 0, and return minus 1,000. This is a bad situation. Just don't do that. This is how we can hard code rules. Don't be walking to somewhere with a negative, with an undiagnosed sample. We just say this is uncode this. This is a bad thing to do. Except if they have, the condition's weird, but they may also be walking towards okay, yeah, and they have to be all samples. All right, so if they're undiagnosed count and they're not walking to diagnosis, then I'm going to say if self.target equals module.diagnosis and self.player0.samples.len is less than max. Max what? Max samples. This is okay. So that's okay. Wow, it's a stupid indent. Go away. Am I missing something? No. It's forcing its own indentation rules on me. I don't like it. Else. This is okay. I don't know. I hate things that do this. I hate tools that force indentation rules. I don't know how. I want to turn off all smart indenting. Just obey my indents. Do not do smart indents. So one of the things I hate most about IDEs and things is like just get rid of. I just want you to maintain what indent I have. Do not try to be clever. Do not try to insert anything on me. Just clever it. So this basically says we're allowed to be walking to diagnosis. If we have any undiagnosed ones, we can still walk to diagnosis if we have spots available. Otherwise, no, we can't do that. And that would just prevent that. The other one is... I notice I'm going from the laboratory to the other samples a lot, but I got an error here. Self.score special. Sample. Oh no, that was correct. It's diagnosed. Oh no, it's just in the sample, yeah. Players 0.target of the players. The other one is going to go down here in the score where. I know there's an issue here. Is let's not even go to diagnosis. Let's not give it any value. We're not going to pick up anything from there. That'll save one thing. Don't even need this. Expected value found enum. Yeah, okay. It's that one. This is okay. Mismatch types. Return 0 F64. No special values. Alright. So we're just going to start hard coding those stupid rules we see. Just don't. That might help us. It's basically saying don't walk around with an undiagnosed sample. That's just a really bad score. Might get stuck though, but that's okay. We get stuck immediately. And that's because picking up a sample gives us a negative. That doesn't make sense. That's not what it's supposed to do. Agnice greater 0. Else if self.player 0 ETA. This isn't the ETA. I forgot that. So he has to be moving. If he's not moving, it's not a problem. What's disappointing about this, because we are at 64 with my silly logic, and trying to add logic just keeps making my score worse. But we know we have to add logic somehow. No, he's stuck again. That's annoying. I throw a ball at the screens. He gets stuck too, though, so we should have beaten him. Why are we stuck now? How many do we have? We don't have any molecules either. And there's plenty of molecules here. We need A. We'll just C. And that's because of that hard-coded rule again. The hard-coded rule basically says we can always fulfill an A, but we can't. We can get stuck with A's. It's unlikely, but can fulfill. We can actually get stuck with A's in this case, because the opponent did something weird and they took all the A molecules, so there's no way we can actually get them. So, what do we do now? And we know we're going to have to start picking up some more samples. That looked actually like somewhat reasonable to do what we just did there. Got rid of trash that we can't fulfill. Got better ones. And this is making sense because he's hogging A. And so we finally detected this. We just stopped getting A. And so we get paused there. And we're stuck again. What do we have? We have nothing, so we could get all sorts. We have an undiagnosed one that we're stuck with, which is stupid. How could diagnosing cause us to lose money? So we're at the diagnosis machine. So the weighting gives us 1466. And diagnosis gives us 1644. That's wrong. A sample has to be worth more diagnosed. I thought we fixed that. So weighting, they're worth 18. With diagnosis, they're worth 15. So we've lost some value there. Somehow. How did we lose value there? Maybe it's from this from rank thing. Rank, health, sample ID. No. Apply, connect, and diagnosis. Maybe that's the issue there. Probably because of this. Let's get rid of this. We know this is wrong anyways. It makes the cost too high, and then we probably can't apply it. So that should fix it, and wait until we get. So we won't predict. This should at least correct the prediction, because we're predicting the wrong values there, and predicting too high values, and we might actually be stuck in a part where we predict something that's impossible to fulfill. So to fix that, let's just predict it's always possible to fulfill. He's going to get stuck with A again. So he's going to get all the A's somehow. So whatever it is in his case, his bot's really interfering with ours, but at least we shouldn't get stuck, because his is stuck now. And that gives us plenty of time to catch up. Unless we end up giving up a molecule that he needs. Oh no, suddenly we have molecules that we can use. So even with that, we don't get fulfilled well enough because we're throwing away samples. Now let's check why we threw those away. Could we not fulfill them, really? Oh yeah. There's a good reason why we wouldn't be able to fulfill them. Let's go back to where we throw them away. Where was that? So right here, we diagnose, and throw away. And why is that? Because they have 5C, and this idiot's holding C, and E. Well, that should have been okay. Because that has A in it, so that's why we threw it away. Their diagram's kind of stuck in a weird place. So that's all C, B, B, E, E. B, B, E, E should have been fillable. Why'd we throw that away? ID 7. Oh, that's that one in the background, though. We didn't throw that away. I can't see that. I can't see that score there. 19. Well, we threw this one away because it had A's in it, and there's no way we can get the A's because he's hogging the A's. That was the one with the A's. Why did we throw the one away with all C's? Because he's hogging the C's as well. Okay, so now I can understand why we're stuck here. Because we can't possibly take any sample that has C and A in it. And because he filled them up right away, well, how do we deal with that? Let's just submit this, see what happens. His initial lead basically screwed us. Because he's never going to get rid of the A and C because his bot got stuck. The rat. And thanks, Sasha. But it's weird. I don't know how to deal with that strategy. He just took all the molecules. He basically got 2, he fulfilled them, and he grabbed some molecules. He's not making it into gold, though, so obviously you can get by that without getting any higher. Okay, are we doing something sensible now here? In this one where we lost? That one is a bit... Yeah, you know. Hey, look, we beat the rat with hat a few times. Let's try this elephant guy. How do we lose against him? Because he... Oh, this is this guy that immediately takes 1 of everything. And this is actually a limitation we have with scoring. Yeah, Regnagas, I was kind of thinking the same thing. You beat the lag this time on it. As I noticed that we're just throwing away 1. Hello, Destroy Computers. So I noticed we're often just throwing away 1 when throwing away all would probably be better. And, of course, getting stuck is also a problem. Stuck is the worst thing. So stuck. What's getting us stuck? And so getting us stuck is the worst possible thing we could do. And again, stuck is the one thing we want to do. And Raknakas, I'm not actually convinced that maybe if we did the look ahead, we might actually solve that problem, getting rid of multiple ones. We value empty spaces pretty high, and we value empty samples pretty much. I just want to, okay, we saw a stuck one. Stuck is the worst. Stuck is the biggest failure. Well, maybe we should put a hard code condition that going back to the samples with hard to fulfill ones is not worthwhile. Is that basically if we're going towards samples, we should have nothing in our hand. We can hard code that. And I don't like the hard codes, but I think we're going to have to because, okay, so now stuck. That's the case 1. Why am I stuck? Score of 1743 doing nothing. Going is bad, so we have something that's almost complete. What do we have in our hand? We have 2 in our hand. They cost a lot. 3B. We can get that cost, so we should pick it up. We can definitely pick up that cost, 3B, 3D, 3E. So we can't get E. So E is not possible to collect E. So neither of them can be fulfilled. So when neither of them can be fulfilled, we should be walking away from here. Samples should be worth more. Go to samples. 1743 is worth slightly less. Why? How does this work out to being less? Molecules shouldn't be worth that much, but how is samples worth less? Because molecules is worth 4. Alright. Alright, so let's fix molecules. Let's first off tweak the score for where. I'm going to put this up to 3. Going to samples is worth 3 if we have something left. And molecules get needed molecules. What do we do it? Get needed molecules. Okay, we're going to tweak this right here. Yes, destroy computers. Proportional fonts are wonderful. Welcome to the future. Chat's everything's proportional. It's nice. I get nice fonts. They're even serifed, so I can identify my I's and L's and 1s differently. Okay, so this stuff. So I'm going to do this. I will. I'll judge. If I see you with monospace fonts, I will judge you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this here. If we can't fulfill this, oh, we don't have the state here. I need the state. I need the state. I need the. Well, I need his samples. We need to make this smarter so it can take his samples. If can fulfill. I know with self.can fulfill and sample NA. If we cannot fulfill this, we're not going to add it to the needed values. So only if we can fulfill it, because otherwise what's happening is he's sitting there waiting to get molecules for something he cannot fulfill. Well, wait, that shouldn't happen. Wait, I did check that before I do that. At molecules, if it's greater than the available amount, do it. So it should have already taken that into account. There's nothing available. Do we have... We only have 2, so we should still be picking up molecules. There's still a lot of molecules there to pick up. I know why. Because... What do we do can fulfill? Because if we can't fulfill it, we don't value picking up molecules. So the molecules has to consider that. The molecules has to consider the fact that if we can't pick any up, and this is where the disconnect kind of here is, I kind of have an error in the code that's, well, I disconnected some of these things, and I should have done this differently, the scoring. I'm not sure how. I should have broken out the scoring a little bit more. So this scoring has to consider that fact that we don't value them. This is it's sort of cross-contamination of the code that the one scoring messes with the other scoring, and you have to consider these things, which is kind of a pain, and it's kind of, I should probably make just one big scoring block and simplify this a bit more. So scoring, if can fulfill self and sample, NA is already a reference. So we only need those ones for things we can fulfill, otherwise we don't bother. And that'll kill this loop at least. Probably just create another loop. I don't remember where we got stuck, but okay, let's see what happens. And this is actually where maybe we should just move on to going one step in the future if there's no loop, because that would have also been solved by that. That we just don't give going where any value whatsoever. We only evaluate actions that modify the score. And so movement does nothing. We don't judge our position. We just don't judge position at all. And that would simplify it a lot. That would break that loop type of thing. So now this is a more satisfying loss. Like we have a much more satisfying loss here. But our rank's not going up. I wonder if we could actually get back to the 64 rank, or enough people submitted stuff that our competition has just gotten better. Not that we screwed up. Now when it's doing this thing again, where it fails on us. We lost here. Come on. Let's just send them to the ID. Oops, no, that's the old one. It's playing the new one now. You see the little banner up there. And it is again another guy that immediately picks up rank 2. And this is what I mean. A lot of people that are beating us have these hard-coded little tricks in them, and we don't take advantage of that. Alright, so that wasn't a satisfying loss. That was pretty close. And I noticed some of the things we're doing, and there's a certain logic we have that's kind of breaking it, is that where is it? The moment we're picking up these high 3 samples, if we're at the diagnosis machine, we should be tossing and we should be ditching this one here. It's just not worth enough. So we can actually base it on expertise and just say they're not worth very much anymore. But if we do that, the moment we increase expertise, it's going to like drop it again and drop our score. But we can make it say if we're walking away from diagnosis, so at diagnosis, so we can hard code something there again. Yeah, the score special, if this actually works, is going to be annoying. What we want to do is going to say unranked values. We're going to make a big loop. We're going to screw this stuff here. Undiagnosed count is 0. Or and sample in self dot player 0 dot samples. It's probably and samples, or just .iter. If sample is not diagnosed, undiagnosed count So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to say let min rank I32 equals 0, let max rank I32 equals 0. That's actually not going to work. Yeah, that's fine. Max, so just start max min rank at 3. Min rank equals sample dot rank min rank. No, not min rank. I still get the syntax screwed up all the time. Max rank equals sample dot rank dot max rank. Now let's see what the error is. 2 errors because max and min are not defined. Oh no. But okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say if where are we now? How do we do this? We want to say basically if we're at the diagnosis machine and we have mixed rank samples, and let's just do this way. First of all, if undiagnosed count equals 0, what I want to say is if we're at the diagnosis machine and we start walking away, we shouldn't do that if we have lower rank samples. So we should prefer just ditching all the low rank samples. But only if we're there. How do we do that in the scoring system? How can I actually say that? Because we don't know where we're coming from. Well, we could at least do the one case. We could actually say if self.player0.target equals module samples. We can at least have it here. No, we have to actually, man. This is a real issue with the scoring-based system. Okay, I can cheat here. This is bad. Wait a second, where did I change that? And we had a default here. And we're going to say if he's coming from there. It's kind of bad because it's intruding a temporal thing into it, and we're going to do a return. And where are my players here? Self.players. Read players. mut.player previous target equals mut.player.target. Now we can do these horrible logics. But I don't know if this is going to help any. If the previous target was diagnosis and self.player0.eta is greater than 0, and self.player0.samples.length does not equal 0, no, is greater than 1. Show me this is bad. We might get stuck again. Let's just say, and min rank does not equal max rank. Return minus 1000 F64. And thank you, Visual Code, for screwing up my indentation again. If anybody knows how to turn this off. Oh, C# question. Nice break. Okay, so this few question is just a random question, not related to with C++. So I'm doing Rust, not C++, but I think it applies the same. Commands like example define and all other functions like this, are they slower than just going through a loop and finding yourself? No. In C++, it's guaranteed to never be the case. In C++, the standard library only exposes functions which are efficient. That was kind of the thing. That's why some of the collections in C++ are missing operations, because they didn't add operations that are slow to it. So in C++, a map, when you do a lookup, find is guaranteed to be really fast. And they have these guarantees written in the standard. You can look in the standard, and it gives the amortized scores of what they're supposed to have. And so it's pretty much a guarantee. And I assume Rust is going to be the same way, but you don't know. I don't know the guarantees of this one. And some languages I know in C#, some of the collections offer operations which are slow. And C++, I know erred on the side of basically saying, no, we just don't offer slow operations. You just can't do it. There's just no slow operation. So it depends on the language, but in general, you're better off using their function rather than doing your own loop. Why did I type there? Hope that answers the question. What do we have? I forgot how we broke here. Alright, we wanted to just give away some more samples. So the moment we have questionable samples, we want to ditch them. So we might get stuck. Alright, so we get stuck, exactly as I feared. I picked my little condition, we get stuck because he doesn't know what to do. Because doing anything gives us minus 1000. And it's because of the weight. It's worth slightly less, and it's because I haven't encoded the rank there. Oh man, this just goes in loops and circles, so let's just find that weight again. Let's just get rid of the weights, and then he'll actually do one of those things. Because we have to encode the fact now that mixed rank isn't very good, but we could get stuck, and we might get blah blah blah. Hey, this scoring's hard. I like the other games much more because this is so. It's like the state machine here is just getting annoying. There's like so many little things, and you can't apply just base scoring. It's like all these special conditions. No, 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 no. He tossed them out, which is correct. But then why is it doing more? So he grabs them, and tossing out ID 1 improves the score. by 1,000. Yeah, because it's a rank 2, so we have a rank 3. Picked up this rank 3 stupidly. Why on earth do we pick up a rank 3? What were we doing here? We're picking it up. And getting rid of rank 4 is worth 1,000. Good. So we got rid of rank 4. We get rid of rank 4. Then we have 2 samples. Worth 1,000 to go there, 1,000 to go there. Waiting's worth 1,000. No, not waiting. Going. And picking up 13 is somehow worth more. Ah, yeah, man, because we have that. And this is the hard thing about special conditions. Because it's messing up the other ones. It's really, you can't have, shit, we got to move on to just going to multiple looks in the future and avoid this. Special conditions are killing me. I want to put this in the other score projects. I want to get the rank mix matched, and alright, let me think about what we're going to do. Let me take a 5-minute break. I go feed some fish. Then I'll come back and we'll just do the score, and we'll take out the score special, and then we'll just do the look ahead in the future and see if we can simplify that. But I'm not having any luck here, and I'm getting stuck in this. I need it. At this point, I'd actually almost prefer to rewrite the entire scoring, because with what we learn now, it's hi IKSF. I was just about to take a 5-minute break, but I'll be back in 5 minutes, and then we're going to look at, I don't know, looking in the future and simplifying the scoring again, and looking in the future to figure out what we should do, removing the where score, removing the score special, and just simplifying everything and just looking in the future instead to see if that actually helps, because I'm not having a lot of luck getting out of this quagmire here. So just give me a second, give me 5 minutes, and I'll be back then in 5 minutes. I'm just going to start and stop the stream then so I can break this up. We don't have that split in there.